Hello, everyone, and welcome back to LexTalk. We're kicking off Season 4, Episode 9 today,
Great to be back.
and a big hello to all our listeners, followers, everyone tuning in. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, fantastic to have you with us.
So today we're doing a deep dive into something really critical in education right now, digital literacy, specifically its role in English language teaching, or ELT.
Yeah, it's a topic that comes up more and more, doesn't it?
It really does. We'll be exploring why it's so essential for, well, both learners and teachers today.
We'll look at how it actually impacts language learning and maybe some practical ways to build these skills, in classrooms here in Thailand and really globally.
Exactly. Before we jump in, though, just a quick reminder.
Ah, yes.
Don't forget to follow LexTalk on all platforms. We're on our website, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Just search at LexTalk Podcast.
Please do subscribe, follow, connect. We love hearing from you.
Okay, let's get started. Let's talk, let's learn, let's LexTalk.
Let's do it.
So digital literacy and ELT. When we talk about this, we're going beyond just like knowing how to turn on a computer or use an app, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's surface level. It's really about accessing information online effectively. It's one thing to Google something. It's another thing entirely to find what you actually need reliably.
And that brings up a huge point, critically evaluating what you find online. The internet's full of, well, stuff.
Exactly. So much stuff. Being able to tell, a credible source from something less trustworthy. That's fundamental. Asking those questions. Who made this? Why? Is it accurate? Is it current?
Right. So it's not just about taking information in. What about creating digital content? That came up too.
Yeah, creating responsibly. That's key.
Yeah.
It involves knowing how to communicate properly, ethically online.
Things like copyright, online manners.
Precisely. Respecting intellectual property, using good etiquette, making sure what you share or create is accurate, appropriate.
And the safety aspect. Interacting safely and ethically online. That feels really important.
It is crucial. Understanding, basic online safety, protecting your own information, and just generally being a positive, respectful presence online for students and teachers.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Imagine a student researching, say, an English topic.
Okay.
One student just throws a question into Google, clicks the first link. Done.
We've all seen that happen.
Yeah. But a digitally literate student, they'd use better search terms, maybe?
Exactly, more specific terms. And then they'd look at the website. Is it like BBC Learning English or Cambridge or just some random blog?
They'd evaluate it.
Right, and they'd know how to cite it properly if they use it. That's a world of difference.
Huge difference. So why is this suddenly, or maybe not so suddenly, so important in ELT?
Well, think about how much language learning happens digitally now.
It's almost unavoidable, isn't it? Videos, articles, quizzes, communication tools.
Totally. And digital literacy helps students sift through all that, find things that are actually relevant to them at the right level.
Makes sense. It sort of empowers them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For self-study, doing their own research.
Definitely. They become more independent learners. They can find communities online, practice partners.
And thinking bigger picture, this prepares them for what? Global communication. The workplace.
Absolutely. So much international communication happens online, often in English, and almost every job requires some level of digital skill now. Being literate digitally and in English, that's a powerful combination.
You mentioned an interesting case thinking about Thai students prepping for IELTS.
Yeah. They might be watching YouTube tutorials, doing online practice tests, maybe even using AI writing tools.
All digital activities.
Right. But are they using them well? Can they spot bad advice on YouTube? Do they understand the feedback from an AI tool critically? That's where digital literacy comes in. Without it, those tools might not be as helpful as they seem.
Okay, so let's break it down. What are the key digital literacy skills we need to focus on for ESL learners?
Well, first up is probably searching smartly.
More than just Google, you mean?
Yeah. It's about using effective keywords, maybe using advanced search options, knowing different search engines might give different results, like searching IELTS speaking part 2 sample instead of just IELTS helped, much more specific.
Got it. And once they find stuff,
Then comes source evaluation. This is massive.
how do you teach that? Like spotting fake news versus a real language article?
Exactly. Teaching them to look for the author, the publisher, the date. Is there bias? Does it match up with other reliable sources? Basic critical consumption skills applied to the web. differentiating a meme from, say, a research summary.
Makes sense. What else?
Online safety and etiquette, super important.
Like, don't share your password.
Well, yes, but also how to communicate respectfully in chats, forums, video calls, how to handle disagreements politely online. Digital citizenship, really.
Okay, and you mentioned creating content earlier.
Right. Content creation and sharing responsibly. Understanding basics of copyright. When is it okay to use an image you found? How do you give credit? If you post something, is it accurate?
Hmm.
Ethical.
So thinking before you post or share.
Definitely. And finally, using digital learning tools effectively.
Like Duolingo, Kahoot, Quizlet,
Yeah.
all those platforms.
Yeah, not just clicking the buttons, but understanding how the tool helps them learn, using it strategically to meet their goals, navigating things like Google Classroom efficiently.
It really feels like teachers need to model all of this, doesn't it? You can't just tell students, be digitally literate.
You absolutely have to model it. Show them how you search. Talk aloud about why you trust one website, but maybe not another. Share links intentionally. Do research tasks together sometimes. Compare different online sources as a class activity.
Which brings us neatly to digital literacy for teachers. It's not just for the students.
Not at all. We need these skills just as much, if not more. Choosing high-quality online materials for lessons, that takes evaluation skills.
And navigating all the new tools, like AI.
Right. Using AI, say ChatGPT, responsibly. It can be a great support for planning, generating ideas, maybe differentiating tasks.
But not a replacement for our teaching judgment.
Exactly. Understanding its limits, knowing when it's helpful and when it's maybe generating nonsense or biased text, we need to guide its use.
And teaching students about citing sources, copyright, fair use, that falls on us, too.
It does. Explaining the difference between quoting briefly for critique versus just copying something, showing them how to use media legally. It's part of academic honesty, which bleeds into digital professionalism later on.
I like that practical tip you mentioned, starting any task involving online resources with a quick source check.
Yeah, just a minute or two. Okay, where did this link come from? Who wrote it? When? Just building that habit before they dive into the content, it makes a difference.
So let's talk strategies. How can teachers actively build these skills in the classroom? What actually works?
Okay, one good way is assigning online research, but maybe giving them curated starting points, like start with these 3 reliable sites instead of just go find information on.
Gives them a safer sandbox to start in.
Exactly. Then, using collaborative digital tools, things like Padlet, Jamboard, Google Docs, get them working together online.
So they practice communication and digital teamwork.
Right. And integrating discussions about internet safety naturally. Not as a separate scary lecture, but as part of talking about online communication or research. Hey, when we're on this forum, remember.
Makes them more relevant.
Also, practicing digital reading. Explicitly looking at different kinds of online texts, blogs, emails, news sites, social media posts, and discussing how we read them differently, how we judge their reliability.
Because reading a tweet isn't like reading an academic article.
Not at all. And finally, getting them to create stuff. Short digital projects, maybe an infographic using Canva, a simple slideshow, even a digital story with images and text.
That sounds engaging. You had that example of Thai high schoolers making YouTube-style intros.
Yeah. The task wasn't just making the video, which is fun, but the reflection afterwards. They had to talk about where they got their information or images, why they chose them, who their audience was.
So it forces them to think about the process and the choices they made. Credibility, audience.
Exactly. It combines the creative side with the critical thinking side.
So pulling all this together, this deep dive really shows digital literacy isn't just, a buzzword.
Far from it.
It's truly fundamental to learning English and just functioning in the world today. Accessing, evaluating, creating, communicating. It's all tied up in digital skills now.
Totally agree. Our goal has to be helping students not just, speak English well, but also navigate this digital world effectively, critically, ethically, safely.
Well said. It's about preparing them for the reality they live in and will work in.
It's a core competency now.
A really important discussion. And speaking of future discussions, next time we'll be tackling our final deep dive of the season, online versus in-person learning, the pros and cons.
Ooh, that'll be a good one. Lots to unpack there.
Definitely. So make sure you join us for that. And one last reminder for everyone listening.
Don't forget.
Follow LexTalk. Website, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify, SoundCloud. Find us at LexTalk Podcast. Subscribe so you don't miss the season finale.
Please do. And now, the best part. Host speaker and expert speaker. Let's talk, let's learn, let's LexTalk.